want you to fuck me right here, right now. Okay, be honest. How often do you hear that from women? Well, believe it or not, there's a way to get a woman at least thinking this about you within just minutes of meeting. And in this short presentation, I'm going to do two things to make sure every woman thinks this about you after just one conversation with her. Hi, I'm Jessica, and first I'm going to show you the simple switch that gets women doing all the work to get you, so that you become the selector instead of the selectee. After I give you this power switch, I'm also going to give you my 3 secret steps to create sexual feelings for you in any woman who hears you speak, so that she starts feeling butterflies in her stomach, thinking dirty little thoughts about you, and deciding for herself right then and there that I want him now. So you'll never have to wonder why she didn't return your calls or texts, or walk away wondering where you messed up. And now that you're able to turn any woman you want on, you'll also have all the options you want. No more settling for girls that you're not all that into, no more nights spent alone, and no more constantly checking your phone to see if there's a text when you didn't even feel a buzz in your pocket. Now, I'm going to tell you exactly how to flip this switch and get any woman all nervous and giddy at the same time. But first, I have to tell you why I care so much. And to do that, I have to tell you a story about my client. One that's pretty embarrassing for him and pretty painful for me, actually. It also happens to be the reason why I won't leave this video up for long. You probably hear that stuff all the time, but trust me, you're gonna hope I take this video down once you hear what happened. Like I said, my name's Jessica, and I am an international dating coach for men. And I'm all set to have my own radio show about sex and attraction on Playboy Radio. I was actually featured on Nightline as one of America's most desirable daters, their term, not mine. I've also ghostwritten for countless sex, dating, and relationship blogs to help thousands of guys meet, date, and seduce thousands more women. Now, the truth is, I wasn't always an expert at getting guys the women they wanted. In fact, I actually came out here to become a marriage and family therapist. Long story short, this turned into writing sex advice for men at an instructional porn company. Different story for a different time. And I eventually merged sex advice and therapy and became a dating coach for men. So when I first started out, I was taking guys out to meet women and giving them in-the-moment feedback. One night, I'm out with a client at a crowded nightclub in downtown Los Angeles, the kind where they only let scantily clad, gorgeous women inside right away, while the other people wait in line. Now, my client is a 5'4" Asian computer programmer who also happens to be a virgin. He's really excited because he flew all the way from New York and was eager to meet LA girls. You know what girls I'm talking about, right? The ones that look like models, wear really tight short dresses, and have purses and shoes that cost about as much as their fake tits. And he's determined to have at least one. Now, I'll explain why later on, but this client is very special to me. And for this particular outing, I'll admit that I'm a little more nervous and protective than usual. So I watch from afar as he starts giving a quick hello and hi, how are you to a handful of guys and girls. And he actually looks pretty excited. Seeing how nice everybody's being to him, he really didn't expect it. And then he spots her. A tall brunette with long shiny hair that would often get caught in her super deep cleavage as she tossed her hair back and forth like a Pantene Pro V commercial. And 3 of her girlfriends who look plastically identical to her and each other. All of them in their dresses so tight and short that their breasts were literally spilling out over them. So my client, he snaps out of his staring, looks at me and says, I'm going in. I grab his hand, look him dead in his eyes, and ask, are you sure? You don't have to. You've already made really great gains tonight. He takes a deep breath and says, yeah, I can do this. Now, throughout the night, Most people were very polite to my client and would turn around and speak to him whenever he approached. This girl is much different. I see him tap her taller shoulder and very meekly say, "Hey, how's it going?" She doesn't even turn around to look at him. Instead, after taking a long sip of her pink drink, she drunkenly screams towards the ceiling,
"Sorry, buddy, that doesn't work on me."
Then she covers her mouth to giggle with her friends, who are all now looking at my client and laughing. She's so loud that everybody hears her and is now laughing and snickering at my client's expense. By the time he makes his way over to me, I see the tears in his eyes. I choke back my own as he chokes out a really whispered, "So, Jess, I think I need to get home. I think my flight's earlier than I thought." I don't even respond to him because at this point something in me snaps. Instead of crying, I go charging for the girl to give her a piece of my mind. Then suddenly, in my path, I see a swift arm come across me and a voice saying, "Whoa, whoa, whoa, you need this." I snap from my red rage and look at a short, chubby, bald guy, mid-40s, holding a full shot glass. He seems harmless, and he shrugs and says, "If you're gonna hit her, have one of these first." I don't say anything, and instead I just grab the shot glass right out of his hand, down it as fast as possible, and then he shows me a bowl of french fries and says, "Chaser?" I can't help but giggle at this point and say, "What the? No." He reasons that, "Well, take 'em anyway. You can just throw 'em at her." Now I really can't help but laugh. He clearly saw the whole thing and knew exactly what I was up to. Then I realized, wait, I'm supposed to redeem my client. I gotta redeem myself even. I look for the brunette and she's gone. Look for my client and he's gone now too.
I'm not even gonna lie to you right now. At this point, I just lose it and start crying.
And just when I forget about him, shot and French fry guy next to me breaks the silence again. And what he says in this moment is the only reason I give a single guy in the club the chance this night. And the only reason my client gets a second chance himself a year later. So what did he say? Shot and French fry guy says to me, "You know, my baby brother's going through this whole being into girls thing right now. Terrifies me. I kind of just want to buy him a bunch of hookers." I shake my head and roll my eyes and somehow can't keep from laughing my ass off at this point. I mean, like, who says that, right? Like, was this guy serious? And then he follows with, "You know, you and me, we should just go around avenging every rejected guy out there. We'll be like Sonny and Cher, Brad and Angelina, any hot duo doing badass things for the good of the world." I look at him more closely, and for the life of me, I no longer see this older, bald, overweight guy. Because in this moment, it doesn't compare to what I feel, which is this really weird, overwhelming need to just crawl into his lap and have him wrap his arms around me. Corny, I know. I mean, yeah, what he said was kind of awkward, right? I'll tell you why it worked in just a second, because it did. But for the rest of the night, I am hooked. Before all of this, I said maybe what, 3 words to this guy? You heard. Now I can't shut up. On top of that, I start doing things I don't normally do. I'm fixing my cleavage in front of him. I tell him to poke my butt to show him I've been working out. I even somehow start talking about how great I am in bed. I mean, who am I right now? Until finally, after 2 hours, my third martini, I catch myself scream at him.
"I want you right here, right now."
Crazy, right? I mean, I meant for it to be a joke. But honestly, I want him so freaking bad right now, I can't even lie to you. I cover my mouth in complete shock and realize, okay, time to go, Jessica. Out of half embarrassment and half realization that this is the answer to my client's prayers, I tell him, "Take my number!" Make sure he calls me right there so that I have his. Then I jump into the next cab home, look him up on Facebook the second I get in, and then frantically mass text all my girlfriends about this awesome guy I just met. When I wake up in the morning, I am on a mission. That morning, I feverishly write down every single thing that Shot and French Fry Guy did, everything he said to me, and with every action and phrase he used, I attach an underlying cause and effect. Until finally, I see the simple switch. Now, I know what you're thinking. This is only one guy, Jessica, and you're only one girl. I get it. How could I possibly conclude anything from just one interaction, right? Well, you and me both, because I thought the same thing, okay? So I decide to round up 7 of my completely different girlfriends to see if my theory passes the ultimate test. A test that I now call the test of the 7 deadly bitches. For this experiment, the girls are instructed to write down every male interaction where they think one of two things. 1, ew, get away from me. Or,
I want this guy right here, right now.
and of course, I participated as well for the numbers. After about 6 months and exactly 200 interactions on the books, we got precisely
166, ew, get away from me ones, and 34, I want him now ones.
which means, bear with me for a second, between the 8 of us, for every 20 guys we interacted with all this time, we only met one that made us want him bad enough to chase